Hello! Welcome to the Flute 360 podcast, where we incorporate a panoramic view of flute-related topics. I am your host, Heidi K. Begay, and this is episode 137. The metronome is ticking. How do you utilize your time? Part 2. Hey guys, it's Heidi. Welcome back to another Flute 360 podcast episode. I am so glad that you have tuned in. I know it's Saturday, 2 days after Thanksgiving, but happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a day filled with joy, peace, and a table filled with yummy food. Before we get into today's content, I wanted to give a quick shout out to my new friends at the website feedspot.com. They have a blog, and they informed me about a week ago that they ranked the Flute 360 podcast as number 3 on their list of Flute podcasts for the 2020 year. Thank you so much for including me, and I am humbled to be on your list. If you are following me through the different social media websites such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, you will know that I have put together a free PDF. The PDF is titled Establish Your Priorities for Optimal Organizational and Time Management Skills. So I put this together in the spirit of the current series, which is Series 29. This includes episodes 136 through 138. In these 3 episodes, I'm giving you 3 personal stories of how I or somebody else has implemented a system to help them navigate and really hone in on their time management and organizational skills. But I wanted to take a step further and put together a PDF where we could dive in much deeper than these 3 episodes. So if this is a topic that you need help with or some guidance or maybe some new ideas, go ahead to my website at heidikbegay.com and a pop-up will appear. Go ahead and type in your information and an automated message will be sent to you with the free PDF. So you don't want to miss out because this PDF is available until December 7th. So you want to act fast because this PDF is only available until December 7th. So after you receive the PDF and you go through the activity and answer the questions that I propose, and you still need help towards your professional or personal goals, I am here for you. I am scheduling 15-minute consultations with potential clients like yourself to figure out where the holes and the gaps are in your system that are preventing you from moving forward in your career. So that's something to consider, and I think it's a great time to do it right as we come up to the new year, 2021. I would love to see you soar and reach those goals that you have set for yourself and for your career. Okay, so let's talk about today's topic. It's just a continuation of episode 136, where I talked about implementing a system. Today, I want to showcase another story how I implement a system within my flute studio to help not only myself, but my students. So remember in episode 136 where we talked about how Eric really didn't have a system in place to reach his collegiate goals? This is so important to remember because just like the foundation of a house, if it's not there, you cannot put up those curtains because there's no frame and then there's no curtain rod. So you can't really think about the curtains unless, you start from the foundation, from the ground up. So I'm just going to use that gold nugget from last week because I love it so much, but just showcase a different example. So your big takeaway is you need to implement a system when working towards your goals. So as many of you know, I'm a flutist and a flute teacher. As a teacher, I notice that my students sometimes have a difficult time getting through their pile of repertoire that accumulates. Between orchestra or band, gig music, audition music, recital music, it can be very overwhelming. So again, I just tell them, like in episode 136, like I told Eric, to take a step back. You want to see the big picture. We as humans are so good at putting out fires, day to day. Somebody emailed me, somebody called me, right? But then we notice, wait, what did we do with our time? I know I was busy, but what did I actually accomplish, right? So take a step back. I want you to look at your monthly, weekly, and daily goals towards that musical event. Perhaps use an Excel spreadsheet. I love implementing an Excel spreadsheet within my studio. Once you plug in all the information, then you can see where you're going. That's one tool I would highly recommend. So say you are a student or a professional with a heap of music on your desk, and you think, oy vey, I cannot get through all of this repertoire in time. Yes, you can. You can do it. So reverse engineer it. Okay, so say you have a goal to enter into 2 competitions in February and a recital in March. Make a list. Figure out what that repertoire actually is. Put the dates of the recital and put the dates of the competitions in your calendar and count backwards to the current date. By doing it this way, you will know I have X amount of days, X amount of weeks, and X amount of months until blank. So let's take that example of the February competition, right? So say the date of entry for your recording submission is February 15th. Today is November 27th, and so I did the math. It's roughly about 3 months, 11 weeks, and 81 days. Now, this sounds crazy, but you want to subtract 2 weeks. You really don't want to be memorizing and or learning the music a day before the recording is due. So give yourself a nice 2-week buffer. So now that you have subtracted those 2 weeks, really, instead of 81 days, you have 67 days. The Excel spreadsheet should reflect that amount of time, so that way you know how to navigate your day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month activities towards that goal. So everyone's Excel spreadsheet is going to look different because we're all unique individuals. Find a way, a system that works best for you. Figure out what you want the columns to read, the rows to read, and just implement and just start plugging in that repertoire, what you want to learn day to day, week to week, and month to month. So make sure you focus on those weekly and monthly goals because, again, it's so easy to get bogged down by the daily activities. And if we don't have a big bird's eye view of where we're going, it's going to be really difficult. So I encourage you to figure out, when those competitions are due, when the recordings are due, when your recital is, and work backwards. Really plug in the repertoire to meet your daily, weekly, and monthly goals so that way you can feel confident and super successful at the time of the performance. By doing it this way, it's manageable. You're taking that big, juicy steak and cutting it up in bite-sized pieces so that way, basically, you don't choke. And hey, we're humans. So if you get off track from this system that you've established, it's okay. Practice self-compassion. And the little nugget that helps me to remember is that if you get off, you can always pick up where you left off. Once everything is plugged into the Excel spreadsheet, cell by cell, and you have the columns and the rows situated the way you like, once you complete the daily or weekly or monthly task, I like to check it off with an X. Or I like to color code the cell a little differently with maybe a yellow or pink or blue color to signify to myself that I completed it. It's extremely rewarding to see your progress unfold right before your eyes. So if you need some more help towards your competition, recital, or audition goals, message me at heidikbigay@gmail.com, and I would love to help you organize your setup. I would love to help you implement a system and/or learn the repertoire towards your musical event. Remember to get your free PDF copy of Establish Your Priorities for Optimal Organizational and Time Management Skills through my website at heidikbigay.com. I hope today's content has given you fresh ideas as you work towards those musical goals. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time. Do you find yourself wanting a space for your unique voice, ideas, and offerings to be heard? Unfortunately, in our current times, a lot of in-person opportunities have been lost. Because of this, I am encouraging you to consider digital opportunities for yourself and your business. I am offering the Podcasting Musician. Create your music podcast on a low budget to amplify your voice and offerings. In these classes, we will build your podcast from the ground up. Podcasting has been growing steadily for the last 15 years, and it continues to soar even during a pandemic. Remote classes begin on December 15th, 2020. Register today at heidikbigay.com/thepodcastingmusician. See you soon. Thank you for listening to the Flute 360 podcast. Please subscribe through your favorite podcast app, such as Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, among others. Also, you definitely want to check out the Flute 360's newsletter. You can sign up for the weekly newsletter through my website at heidikbigay.com. Thank you for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it.
Let's talk about flute.